leader of the new Third Reich made reigning over the Grand Prix one of his first missions. His Silver Arrow race cars, piloted by the ruthlessly indefatigable champion Rudi Caracciolo and the blonde-haired, blue-eyed poster boy Bernd Rosemeyer, stood for more than sporting prowess. They represented the master race conquering the rest of the world. A Mercedes-Benz victory is a German victory, heralded the Nazi propaganda machine. Hitler aimed to use their success to inspire hundreds of thousands of young men to enlist in the ranks of a motorized army, which its automobile firms, now transitioning into massive industrial machines, would help bring into being. After years of unchecked German triumph, a woman called Lucy Schell decided that something must be done. So she launched her own Grand Prix racing team. A dazzlingly fine driver in her own right, and the only child of a well-heeled American entrepreneur, she had cash to spend, reasons of her own to challenge the Germans, and the will to claim her place in a world dominated by men. For a car, she chose the most unlikely of manufacturers, Delahaye. Managed by Charles Weiffenbach, the old French firm was known for producing sturdy, staid vehicles, mostly trucks. Racing was a path to save the small company. For a driver, Lucy recruited René Dreyfus. Once a meteoric up-and-comer, he had been excluded from competing on the best teams with the best cars because of his Jewish heritage. Triumph over the Nazis promised redemption for all of them. My journey to uncover this tale of a team of strivers took me in many directions. Unlike the pre-war stories of such sports giants as Jesse Owens, Joe Louis, or that crooked-leg racehorse named Seabiscuit, time had largely erased from memory the endeavors of Lucy, René, Charles, and the Delahaye 145. No writer had devoted a book solely to the subject. At first, I sank myself into libraries, like the marvelous Revs Institute in Naples, Florida. This was my first foray into automotive history, and the sheer volume of contemporaneous journals and magazines devoted to the Grand Prix in multiple languages stunned me. Day after day, I thumbed through thousands of pages, rooting out pieces of the saga. The Daimler-Benz archives in Stuttgart and the National Library of France in Paris proved equally helpful. I quickly learned that information on classic cars and their drivers is deeply cherished, but often held closely by clubs and private collectors. Diligence and a little bit of persuasion gained me access to scholarly treasures held inside a sprawling French farmhouse, a cluttered Seattle garage, and a storybook English manor, among other places. The family of René Dreyfus shed a lot of light as well. It is one thing to study detailed course maps of the significant races in this history. It is another to walk or drive them. La Turbie, outside Nice, the Nürburgring in the Eifel Mountains, Montlhéry, south of Paris, Monaco, through the streets of Monte Carlo, Pau, on the edge of the Pyrenees, separating Spain and France. I wanted to know every hairpin, every straight, every rise and fall. Throughout my research, I visited numerous car museums across America and Europe, wandering among the collections of Alfa Romeos, Bugattis, Maseratis, Delahayes, Talbots, Ferraris, Mercedes, Peugeots, and Fords. Polished to a sheen, these cars looked like works of art. And they were immobile, surrounded by walls, their purpose to go fast thwarted now. I wanted and needed to experience a sliver of what the heroes of this story had experienced in the cars they raced, most of all the Delahaye. In response to repeated requests, Richard Adato, a board member and curator of sorts for the Mullen Automotive Museum, invited me for a drive. The museum, in Oxnard, California, was founded by American multi-millionaire and collector Peter Mullen, who owned all but one of the 4 145s. I finally reached the museum parking lot. I turn into it and come to a quick stop. Just in time. Someone calls my name as I climb out of my GMC. It is Richard waving me over. Richard has a measured, no-nonsense demeanor that only occasionally is broken by an impish smile. In his 60s and a builder by profession, he is also an expert on pre-war French cars. He leads me over to a boxy white warehouse opposite the museum. The tapered tail of a car sticks halfway out of the warehouse door. The Delahaye 145. The many black and white photographs I have seen of the race car do it little